Hello Sagittarius. Great to have you here. My name is Shauna. Today's reading is a general love forecast for November 2025. As always, take the messages that resonate and release anything that doesn't. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay connected with upcoming readings. Let's see what's headed your way, Sagittarius. What I got for you guys is that honestly, it's not a entirely like positive image that I'm getting. So I feel like there is some type of a breakdown within a family unit, and the children are involved. So I feel like children in the middle of the picture, and I feel like this was a relationship that ended because there was a lot of like either verbal abuse, somebody putting somebody down. I feel like for a lot of you, you were concerned about, the children growing up in that environment. So you had to leave it. And I feel like, that's a very honorable thing to do, like leaving a situation, no matter what, like leaving a situation because you felt like it wasn't a good environment for your child. So it's a very difficult choice to get yourself to that point to, leave a situation. So I commend you for that. But I feel like there's a major rift between you and a relationship partner. That's what I'm sensing. A major rift between you and another person. And I feel like for a lot of you, somebody feels as if they are emotionally checked out. Somebody might be dealing with depression. Somebody might be feeling very isolated and lonely, and there might be a job that has recently ended, and you or your partner recently like lost a job or ended a job, and there's concern about the security in the relationship. Okay, so it's honestly it's a very heavy energy. So I'm hoping to be able to get cards to clarify that situation, but that's what I'm sensing. It's sort of like, what are we going to do now? So I feel like for Sagittarius, if you are dealing with a partner and the relationship is stable, but there might have been like some job changes recently, and your partner is kind of withdrawn, I feel that it is really important for you to bring this person back, because I feel like they're drifting further and further away because they're a little bit concerned and worried. And I feel like I feel like for a lot of Sagittarius females, if you're dating, if you're in like a heterosexual relationship, I feel like you are with the kids, and then the father is like drifting further and further away emotionally, because of concerns about finances. Okay, so somebody is like emotionally checked out. Somebody is emotionally checked out, and I feel like it's really important for you to bring them back into the fold, to come out and coax them, and to have a discussion, because there's like a lot of confusion in between the parties as well. Something to keep an eye out for, okay, if it sounds like it resonates with you, if it sounds familiar. But I feel like somebody might be dealing with some type of a depression, or they're very anxious and very worried. On the other hand, I definitely feel as well for Sagittarius, for Sagittarius, I feel almost like there's a new person coming through. This person is younger than you, and don't get involved with them. Don't get involved with this person. They're going to bring a lot of drama and confusion. So careful about that, okay? Don't get involved with a younger person that comes through for this month. And I'm feeling a huge age gap. And there's age is nothing but a number, but I do feel that age does correlate with emotional maturity. So, if you are dealing with like, if you're asking yourself, why can't I find the right one? And you find somebody who is significantly younger, I don't feel that it's off to a good start, because I feel that there is really very little interaction between the two of you that can be had and that can be, meaningful. Okay. Somebody's like waltzing in, and I feel like you're getting swept off your feet, but this person brings with them a lot of baggage, a lot of, immaturity, and I feel there's a significant age gap. Okay, so let me pull out 2 more cards and see what's going on for you. Okay. All right, so let's talk about this. So you have a new beginning. A lot of you have left a relationship partner. A lot of you have, severed ties with people, and you're starting a brand new chapter in your life, which is a really, really beautiful energy. You still have some financial concerns that might be linking you together. So this can even be property. It can be joint assets. It can also be like, custody issues regarding children. Alimony even. I'm feeling there is still financial ties preventing this new beginning from taking off. Okay, so you both are still karmically bound together, and I feel like for a lot of you, you might be separated, but you're not completely divorced. So to me, that indicates a string of attachment, like a cord of attachment. If you want a truly, truly new start in your life, you have to get those things sorted out, and you have to proceed with the legal paperwork and things like that. Because I feel like some cord of attachments via finances, via contracts that are blocking your progress when it comes to new beginnings, okay? A lot of you are contemplating this situation, even you haven't done it yet, because I feel like there are financial considerations. And I feel like you're very, very anxious and worried. You don't know how you're going to be able to do it on your own. And you don't know, so like you're in a state where you're just like, I really need to get myself out of here, but I don't know how to do it. I don't know if I can think. And you're very lucky, okay? And you have some protection here. So the Five of Pentacles is a situation where there is shelter, there is help, and there's also like a place of refuge. You just have to be resourceful, and you have to know how to look, where to look. So this is what I want to mention. And I have a Sagittarius moon, and I know that here's the trick, okay? Whenever you have like, three things that you have to do, you like touch this thing and you're just like, oh, and then like after 5 minutes you get bored of it, and then you start on the next thing, and then you get bored of it, and then you start on the next thing. The trick here is just, blast through one thing, knock it out of the way, and then reward yourself with like a cookie or something. Whatever it is that you find rewarding, watch an enjoyable movie, or do something that you enjoy. So that's your reward for getting, one thing done. And then tackle the next thing and stretch it out over a long period of time if you need to, but just don't touch the other two things until you get that first thing done. And that's how you're going to have to approach this, because like when things start piling on, you get really, really nervous, and then you start like feeling overwhelmed, and you get very overwhelmed very easily. So like I mentioned, your ruler is Jupiter, and Jupiter is a planet of expansion, and it tends to exaggerate problems. When you're like happy, it's great because it exaggerates your joy and your satisfaction, which is a great thing. When you're sad or when you're overwhelmed, it's really bad. So one of the things here is that I feel like you're making mountains out of molehills, and it's really important for you to keep things into perspective, to not get frustrated when things start piling on. Take care of one thing at a time. Do a checklist. This is what I've learned from my Virgo sister, and it helps. Okay, it really helps put your fears and put all those things into perspective. So I feel like a lot of you are at that stage where things are like piling on, and you're starting to feel very destabilized, and you're starting to feel just scared, nervous, anxious. Okay, things are like starting to pile on. So the main thing here is to stay on top of it. Don't let it control you, and check things off as you go. Tackle one thing at a time. Don't try to do three things, or don't try to rummage through and see which one is the funnest thing to do. Just tackle one thing at a time, and then check them off as you go, and then reward yourself. Do whatever you need to do, but it's a really good way for I guess like anxiety management. It's a really good way to do that. Okay, so I encounter this energy a lot when I read for Sagittarius, so this is something you're going to have to do. If you are in a situation and you're overwhelmed and you're just like, how am I going to make ends meet, write down a list of like the essentials that you need to do. So this is just basic budgeting things, but I feel like when it's in your head, it tends to be blown out of proportion. When you actually write it down, then it's going to help you overcome the anxiety and the fears, because you're going to look at the numbers and you're going to realize it's not as bad, okay? So things are not that bad. And honestly, I feel that even when it comes to your finances, there are sources of help. And greatly, we have the Judgment card. This is a card about family reunion. So family members will be a great source of emotional, financial, and physical support for you. So lean on them if you need to, okay? You're not alone in this. So I feel a lot of you are scared, but you're not alone in this, okay? So hang on a little bit further, okay, Sagittarius? What I do feel here is, once again, warning regarding a younger person, okay? So we have a love offer here. The Princess of Cups, this is like the Page of Cups in the traditional tarot. And I feel like this is coming in from a younger person. And this is definitely concerns. It can be concerns about a younger person, like children that you're dealing with. Somebody might be missing somebody. I feel like if you're dealing with children, there is some type of like confusion or some type of depression or some type of like I would say like, you know, like for example, if you have a child and you've recently separated from the father or, you know, the mother, whoever it is, and you have the child, there might be nostalgia from the child forcing you to contact the other person. But I feel like your heart is not into contacting the other person. You don't want to re-engage, but you have to because of the child, okay? And it's heartbreaking for me to say this actually, because I feel like for a lot of you that might be the case, and you're trying to do what's best for the child. So I feel some type of missing somebody, like a child missing a mother, missing a father, and then as a result of it, you have to cater to your child and you have to re-engage in contact with the other person that you'd rather leave behind. So I feel like it's flowing both ways, either from the Sagittarius or from the former partner of Sagittarius. Do what's right for the child, because I feel like it's not that bad, okay? Don't blow it out of proportion. Maintain your emotional control and you're going to be fine. On the other hand, I do feel for those of you who are dating somebody that is younger, potentially a water sign. So this is Pisces, Cancer, Scorpio. What I'm feeling almost as if there is some type of misleading information, like confusion and deception as well. Okay, so be careful about this. Both of these cards indicate very strong psychic link, possibly with another water sign where you feel this really strong emotional connection with them. But I definitely feel there is some confusion. You're not getting the whole story. So when I mention a younger person, I feel like it's significantly younger and you're not getting the whole picture. So be careful when dealing with them, interacting with them. Get the story straight. And honestly, if you're in a place where you have a lot of other things that are on your mind, honestly, love and confusion in love should not be incorporated into your life. So I hope that makes sense, okay? It's not like, you know, under normal circumstances, if everything was going well, you do what you want to do. But I feel like you have a lot on your plate. You have a lot of things that are kind of like up in the air, and you don't need this distraction, okay? So choose wisely and you know, act accordingly, all right? Um, in terms of your emotional state, we have here the Five of Cups as well as the Fool. So you're starting a brand new path in your life, and you're starting like on a very, very good journey. And I basically feel that, you know, a lot of you, I know that Saturn transit is still going on and it's very difficult, but it basically is like the universe's way to autocorrect. If you've been veering off track, last month and this month brought about major epiphanies, okay? Last month and this month will bring about major epiphany. I feel like especially during that that whole Mercury retrograde had to be let go of, okay? Full moons are a really good time for a release. And these are things that you know you have to let go. So a lot of you have let things go and you're feeling very optimistic at this point and you're feeling really, really good. But I definitely feel like possibly children, possibly other considerations are making you step back and revisit this situation like emotionally. You're still pining after the other person emotionally. I feel like you're not going back to it, but there is still that sadness, that grief. So the point here is that you can't start a new phase in your life and pretend like everything is okay until you actively mourn the end of that relationship. Okay, so this is basically letting things, I guess, like laying things to rest. So this means stop second guessing yourself. Did I or did I not make the right choice? Will they or will they not come back? Or, like, am I going to be okay on my own? The point here is that you can't go back to this situation. It was not on your karmic path. The universe had to intervene to do some autocorrect in your life because honestly, I feel like you were hanging on to a situation for way too long and it was not good for you. So I feel like you can't move past it and start a new life for yourself until you mourn it, until you come to terms with it within yourself. This is not about getting answers from another person. This is not about, getting the last word. This is pretty much about, I need to move on from this. So I need to mourn it. I need to like set it in the ground, lay it to rest and accept it so that I can move on. Okay, so that's what I'm feeling here, and I feel like for a lot of you there was a situation where the other person that you're dealing with might have some type of an emotional up and down, which indicates to me like depression or something similar, like some type of a personality disorder where they're like hot and cold, but it's not just a minor hot, like blowing hot and cold. I feel like depression. I feel like very strong emotional ups and downs, like, bipolar, like something very extreme. And I feel like a lot of the times you tell yourself that, oh, they're just going through a phase or they have this condition, and you made a lot of allowances for their behavior. But I feel like for a lot of you, you're starting to realize that no matter what, it's a condition and it's not good for you to stay in it. So you had to move on. And that's why it hurts, because you love the other person, you care about them. And when you love very deeply and you commit yourself very deeply, and there are children involved, I feel, for many of you in this situation. So it's a difficult decision, but you made allowances for it. But the point here is that this is somebody this is a situation where the other person needs help. Okay, they need support, but they need like professional help. So I feel like no matter what you try to do, it wasn't going to be enough, and it was really emotionally, spiritually draining for you as well. So you have to like take care of yourself, and especially if you have children involved, if there are young people involved as well, you have to take care of, and try to do what's best for the greater good, I feel. Okay, so I know that it's painful, but you have to really come to terms within yourself that I can't go back to this situation. I have to let it go. So cast it in the river, let it float away, and move on with your life, okay? You can't do that until you mourn it, until you accept it for what it is, and let it go. And then you can start your life all over, all right? What we're ending with by the end of this month, this is looking really, really good. So you have the Wheel of Fortune, which is basically your luck turning around. So I mentioned earlier, Sagittarius, don't be afraid. And you're a lot luckier than you think. A lot of the times I feel like, Jupiter is the guardian angel aspect too. So if you've ever had your natal chart done, if Jupiter falls in the 8th house, it indicates guardian angels, divine protection. And this is like a lot of blessing coming to you in ways that you would never expect, okay? So a lot of the times, like we think on the physical plane. And whenever we make a decision, we think about, all the potential outcomes, right? Like A, B, C. And because we're humans, we can only imagine those scenarios. But I feel like the universe has something else that is so much better than what we can imagine. And the thing about that is you have to have faith that something good is going to happen outside of those 3 scenarios that you laid for yourself, because the universe worked in very, very miraculous ways. So if you are in a situation where you're stuck because the 3 options that you can foresee are not good options. And you feel like there's no way I can pick one of those options. So I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to stay where I'm at. So it's telling you here to have faith, because the fourth, fifth, sixth options will start to open up once you close some doors. And I feel for a lot of you, you have closed some doors, because it's pretty clear here. We have a lot of new beginnings, blank pages, new chapters. But I feel that you're still in a lot of fear. There's still a lot of fear about starting over, about being on your own more than anything, about being on your own, and about, having to take care of responsibilities, and about having to plan long term. You're very good at planning things, like within the day, within the next week. But when it gets to like careers, when it gets to like, long term 5-year plan, 10-year plan, it gives you a lot of anxiety, because that's a lot of expectation and that's a lot of pressure on you. So you don't plan these things. So in your head, it seems like you have these 3 options and none of them look very favorable. Well, there is something else in store for you, and it's going to be really good. And I feel like it's going to be beyond what you imagine your life to be. Okay. So this is basically, I feel like it's reassuring to tell you this, because I feel that a lot of you are in a very tough situation and you can't see a way forward. I honestly see like a lot of melancholy associated with these cards. A lot of cup energy, a lot of water, and you're a fire sign. So I don't really enjoy seeing that, okay? But I feel that it's reassuring to let you know that things will get better. Things will turn around. Things will work in your favor, because you did a lot of hard work, or you got through a lot of tough times, and you're kind of like on the tail end where you're getting the rewards, okay? So I mentioned don't rest on your laurels. I believe in the May mid-month reading, you have to push through. And the last stage about pushing through is basically being on your own, standing firm on your ground, and don't second guess yourself. Don't let this little thing, like that voice in the back of your head, make you doubt yourself. So it's like that nudging feeling in the back of your mind, like, did I make the right choice? Am I going the right way? Like, don't let that take over, okay? Don't let that take over. Trust what you see in your physical environment. Don't let intangible things give you anxieties and make you second guess your path, because you are on the right path. You were off track before. I would say, like, for a lot of you, about 4 months ago, 6 months ago, you were definitely off track. Now you're in the right, I guess, like you're being accelerated along a good path, okay? What's coming in as well? We have here the King of Wands. So the King of Wands usually comes in as a person that can bring about a lot of inspiration, a lot of opportunities, especially like on the creative project front or on the work front. It doesn't indicate to me like so much of a financial situation, but this is somebody that brings about a lot of inspiration, okay? This is also an energy for you because you're a fire sign. So Sagittarius, if it's not you, it's a person, a fire sign coming in. So Sagittarius, Leo, Aries, and this can be their sun, moon, or rising. And I do feel for a lot of you, we're going to do the love reading next, but what I'm feeling is this might be another person that you are romantically involved with. So this might have been somebody that was in the past coming back in to block your progress. So this could potentially be somebody that was that is quite controlling, that is quite like forceful. So I feel like they might be physically blocking your progress, okay? On the other hand, if this is like a brand new person, this is like a new romantic interest. Okay, so Sagittarius, Leo, Aries, Sun, Moon, or Rising. If you were dealing with somebody like this from the past, then it's the energy of somebody controlling and somebody that is like physically getting in your way to prevent you from starting a new chapter in your life. So it's going to play out in one of those two ways. And if it's somebody from the past, it doesn't have to be a fire sign. It could just be somebody that you have children with, you share children with. They might have their own children from other relationships. It doesn't even have to be a male figure, but I definitely see some delay, some progress being blocked, or like thwarted by this person. So be careful about that, Sagittarius. Keep yourself focused and don't second guess, don't doubt yourself, okay? So let's see in terms of your advice. These are really important cards. Okay, so there is temptation here, and I want you to be careful, okay? This is like the temptation to stray. So first of all, we have here the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is a situation in which somebody is being kept in the dark about something. They have their intuition, it's like working overtime, and they're getting like intuitive like messages saying that something is wrong, but they don't have proof in the physical environment, okay? They don't have proof just yet. This is also a card about denial. This is like the woman, she is blindfolded and she's in a situation where it's not looking too warm, it's not looking too great, but she's comfortable staying there rather than making a move, okay? So this is a card about complacency, not making a decision, being very, very fearful, not having like positive options to choose from. What I'm feeling happening in your environment is, for a lot of you, you're dealing with somebody that is quite sneaky. This is like slinking away in the middle of the night, possibly having to slip away unnoticed. Somebody is doing something, and I feel like nighttime activities and things like that, like doing something under the cover of the night. So basically doing something that you're not supposed to. This is happening in your environment, and I feel for a lot of you, there might have been some denial about this situation, okay? If you have temptation to step out of your relationship, there is, I feel like, a fire sign energy coming through for you. And fire signs are very spirited, but they're also like the major player in the deck. So that means they're in and out of your life and they're not planning to stay, okay? What I'm also sensing is, Sagittarius, I honestly feel like there's a lot of temptation for a lot of you that we're not dealing with troublesome relationships, you know. I feel like you have like a lot of suitors. You might be coming in and out of somebody's life, and I feel almost as if you're rushing into something that you're not supposed to. That's what I'm feeling here, because the way the cards interact with one another, we have the Prince of Wands, which is potentially your energy. You're rushing into this sneaky situation, and you're not supposed to. So I feel almost like others of you, you have to resort to sneaky behavior because you're dealing with somebody who's quite cutthroat, and you don't want to review your cards because they might, you know, use it against you. For others of you, you might be you might be like rushing into a situation that is a little bit difficult, okay? I feel the overall advice here is that for a lot of you, you have to take matters into your own hands. That's what it is. I feel like you can't be in denial about this anymore. You can't protect. So don't fear reprisal. Don't fear harm. I don't feel that you have anything to be worried about because you have some very strong divine protection. And what I'm feeling is, if someone did something wrong, pursue legal action. Go after it. Don't take it lying down. You know, get upset over it. Fight for justice. You know, get the outcome that you deserve. So that's what I'm feeling here as the advice for a lot of you, is just don't take this situation lying down. Find ways to get around it and, you know, fight for what you believe you deserve, okay? That's something that is really important too. If you're dealing with children, custody issues and things like that, fight for it, okay? Don't take the easy way out. Pursue the other person if they've done something that was not good. I feel like you need to take that route. Okay, so let's go into your love reading. I'm very sorry, Sagittarius. It's a little bit of a heavy reading, but you have a lot of blessings coming through. You have a lot of good things, and especially like a very strong love relationships that you're still kind of testing the waters on, okay? And it looks to me to be good. If it's with like a fire sign, sun, moon, or rising, a lot of you might be shifting from water to fire. So let's just see what's in store for you for love relationships, Sagittarius. So I mentioned this with Aquarius and Scorpio readings, that I'm going to start reading these in reverse, or what if they come out reverse, or however they come out, I'm going to start reading reversals with this deck, because it's actually, I'm getting used to it, so it's easier for me to read them in reverse as well. Okay, let's see. Okay, so at the center of the spread here, we have you, Sagittarius. This is a fire sign. This is your energy. I feel like you're getting worked up. You're feeling passionate, and I feel like you're getting out there. You're putting yourself out there in order to attract the right people. Okay, a lot of you in the recent past, you have sailed on from a major ordeal, and you are moving from a precarious relationship into something that is a lot better for you. Okay, and I do feel that for a lot of you, you're still struggling to get rid of an ex, because I feel like, the man is steering the boat, and the woman, she seems like she's like complacent. So it seems that, and it goes both ways. It doesn't have to be, a specific gender, but I feel like you're still having trouble letting go of an ex because they're still pursuing you. That's what I feel. They still have a huge impact in your life, and there's still some energy here that tells me that they're still influencing you in some way. So it's hard for you to completely extract yourself. You might have joint finances. You might have like linked up assets or children even. What I'm feeling here is that this is a card about release, letting go, okay? Um, when it's in the upright position, it means like hanging on to all your resources, hanging on to your feelings, being controlling, hanging on to another person. When it's in the reverse, you have definitely let that person from the past go. They're gone out of your life, which is good. So a lot of you are like still straddling this middle ground, and you're at a point where you are independent, you're completely single, and you're in a very good position right now to attract people, okay? The foundation is, we have the Seven of Pentacles, and the Seven of Pentacles is a situation where you have devoted a lot of your time nourishing, taking care of, and I guess like building something up from the ground. And you're also letting go of that situation as well, which can be a little bit difficult, but you know that it wasn't going to bear fruit, so you had to abandon it, okay? So it's an abandoning a relationship after a lot of investment. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes things just don't work out. So I feel like a lot of you, the foundation here is that you feel almost as if in the past you were the one that bore the brunt of the relationship and the other person did not reciprocate. There were financial issues. There were like uneven distribution in responsibilities. There were a lot of situations where you put in a lot of work and possibly taken for granted as well, okay? And I feel like it actually flowed both ways. If you're dealing with an earth sign especially, I feel like this might have been a situation like that. And I feel like you're upset. I feel like you're upset. So if you're in a relationship as well currently with an earth sign, that might be one of the sources of contention between the two of you, where somebody feels as if the other person is not chipping in. So once again, it goes both ways. They feel like you might not be chipping in, or you feel they might not be chipping in. But I feel like if you're in a solid relationship and this is something creeping up during this month, I feel that you're both approaching, your sense of responsibility based on what you see. So that means, when, for example, if your significant other is at work, you don't see what they're doing. You can only keep tabs on what you're doing. So it always feels like we're doing more, right? Because we can't really see what the other person's doing. And they likewise can't see what you're doing outside of, their vantage point. So I feel like a discussion regarding responsibility and even distribution in responsibilities and obligations is vital for this month in order to harmonize a stable relationship. Okay, so that's what's coming through, especially if you're dealing with an earth sign, Virgo, Taurus, Capricorn. What I'm also sensing, I do sense like this is basically, housewarming, a new home coming into the picture, a lot of responsibilities that needs to come through. So for a lot of you, you're moving into a new home, you're starting a new home, you're bringing new people into the home. So this could be, bringing a newborn child, bringing a pet, a dog, a pet, so some type of pet into the household. So there's a lot of responsibilities. There's also some fixing up of the home environment too, with between you and your partner, and it's causing like a lot of stress and strain within the relationship because fixing things up is never fun when you have other obligations, when you have work and children and just maintaining your lifestyle. So I feel like it's a great opportunity, but it brings with it a lot of work. And like I said, you tend to get a little bit frazzled when the responsibilities pile on. So keep a cool head, check things off as you go. Maintaining a better like organization system, I feel it's going to be better for you. Okay, so Sagittarius, keep this energy under wraps. Okay, what I'm feeling as well for others of you who are, let's talk about the singles. Singles, I do feel that you're in a very good position this month to meet very stable relationship partner. Okay, I do feel as well, we have here the Wheel of Fortune preceding this, and I feel almost as if for a lot of you, you're trying to get your finances in order. So that's basically on the main burner, whereas relationships and attraction and things like that, you have, I feel you have a fire sign coming through, and an earth sign. The fire sign is going to be a little bit more, directed. Okay, so they're going to court you. Earth signs are a little bit more like reserved, and I feel like both of these might come in your work environment. I do feel that, with finances and personal responsibilities being on the main burner, you're not going to be in a position where you have like a lot of time to date or a lot of time to think about dating, but you're definitely on the right track. For a lot of you, you have been burned in the past too, so you're hesitant about starting over. You have been like in a, I feel like those of you newly single, you were in a relationship that was pretty bad, I'm sorry to say. So you're trying to rebuild yourself. You're trying to start over. And relationship partnerships and things like that are just not important for you right now, okay? So I feel a lot of like damage repair, repairing your self-esteem, repairing your financial base, getting, like building new friendships, building, finding people who you can trust. I also want to emphasize this for those coupled or single. Don't be on the defense, okay? This is a card about somebody ready to lash out. So I feel that it's really important for you. Like, I feel like a lot of you have been hurt and you're really cautious about who you get involved with, and that's great. It's great, good to be cautious, but um I feel like, feeling imagined slights, feeling as if somebody just said something to offend us. But I feel like it's like a misread. Okay, so just let your guard down a little bit. Be a little bit more gentle when interacting with other, because I feel like you're ready to lash out. I feel tempers flaring, and I feel a lot of it has to do with, you're stressed out. You're stressed out, Sagittarius. Take some time off and, make that checklist. Cross things off as you go. So I feel, earth sign, Taurus, Virgo, Capricorn, for those of you who are single, as well as a fire sign for singles.